Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another webinar of Key Business Advisors. And this webinar is all about identifying future leaders. It's all about succession planning. So welcome to our webinar. Today's webinar is being recorded, and I just want to do a quick check to make sure that, can you hear me? If you put a message in the chat box, that would be absolutely fantastic. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me on the webinar. So you could just give me the yes, I can hear you, Colin. That'd be fantastic. I'll just wait for a sec. Okay, perfect. All right. Well, today's webinar, as I said, it is about identifying future leaders, and it's all about succession planning. So I hope you get a lot out of today's webinar. Let me just take you through what the webinar is about, and I'll just get myself organised. Here we go. All right. Today's session, I'm going to talk about leading self. So when we identify a future leader, we then want to convert them into an emerging leader within your own business. So for me, the three key principles of what somebody needs if they're going to become a future leader or emerging leader in a business is, number one, they've got to learn or know how to lead self, leading themselves to make sure that they demonstrate those qualities of a true leader. They've got to learn how to lead others. So that's, not easy to do, especially if I've worked in a business and then I've got to manage my colleagues. And I come from that background. That is not easy to do. I was, back in a long time ago, in a business, highly successful in the sales role, and then they made me their manager, their team leader. And then what happened was I really struggled in trying to manage my mates, if I can say that, my colleagues. There's a skill set in that. And then learning how to lead and manage a team or a department, right? So, this is what it's about. It's about how do you develop somebody and in your business, so they stay and not leave your business and go elsewhere. Okay. My name is Colin Wilson. I'm the Managing Director of Key Business Advisors. Very passionate about what I do, which you'll see. 14 years we've been in business, and our mission is all about how we take a business from good to great. How do we get them to the next level? And our purpose is to take our customers on a journey through all aspects of employee engagement and performance. Because if a business is performing well, then we know we've got a very, very successful business. There are 4 pillars to our business. We try and make it very simple for our clients to understand. Number one is we're all about business strategy and growth. So what is your strategy on how to grow your business? And identifying future leaders in your business is a great strategy. So I've identified them. Now how do I emerge them as a leader into my business? People and culture. You need to have great culture in a business. You need to have great people in the business. We're an outsourced HR business, so we give lots of HR advice and support to our loyal clients throughout Australia and New Zealand, and we do a lot of training, professional sales training and development, customer service, leadership management training as well. They're the 4 key pillars of our business. Okay, so let me get on to topic number 1. So this is a 30-minute webinar. It's all about giving you a quick injection of what I believe in and how it all works. And I just like to share that knowledge. So our topic 1 is around leading self. Well, the first thing you need to do is identify qualities of a future leader. So within your team, do you have in particular some staff, it might be more than one, that demonstrate leadership qualities? What I mean by that is, they've got a positive attitude, they're a good overall performer. They don't have to be your best performer, but they're a good, stable overall performer. They're a resource, a good go-to person, right? So if I need help or need support, they're actually willing to give up their time and support somebody for the benefit of the business. Definitely IP, so intellectual property knowledge, which you can't buy that, right? So, do you have a particular staff member that knows your systems, products and systems, knows the IP of your business? And we commonly see, clients come to us and go, I've just lost a great quality staff member, and it's through the lack of this type of planning, and that IP's walked out with that particular person. This person's got to have the ability to train others. So they've got to have that passion and that ability to train others. They must have good communication and, an advocate for your brand. So if someone's bagging business or a process or something like that, they're the type of person that is about, well, okay, hang on, this is not the way we operate. This is the way it should be. They've got to be passionate about your products and services, and definitely consistent results in everything they do. So, this is about, having conversations with your team and say, listen, I want to identify you as a future leader, and I can give you 100 case studies where this process that I'm going through has worked very, very well in companies that we've supported. Very big one for me, ethical qualities. So they're not going to do the wrong thing by your organisation. And number two is they're genuine, right? Because people like to deal with genuine people, right? So there's no point having an arrogant manager who railroads everyone or anything like that in the future, because that's not going to achieve anything in today's world. That's going to set your business up for failure. You need to find somebody who is, if I use the word, someone's got very good business acumen or understands business acumen. If they don't, you've got to train it. But more importantly, someone's got the emotional intelligence on how to have conversations with people. I think it's really important. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is identifying. So you identify and develop them through performance conversations. This is succession planning. So we're an outsourced HR business, and our HR team, they're very passionate. They support many companies through, as I said, throughout Australia and our local area around here. But it is about making sure that you're having those one-on-one conversations and those performance appraisals or reviews to say, look, what is it going to take for us to get you to the next level? Let's set some goals and objectives on how to do that. And we see you as a future leader in this business, and that's part of that planning process. And then obviously, if you're following the KBA methodology of doing your performance appraisals and reviews, then you will have continual conversations with this particular person to get them to the next level, which will get them motivated, and then eventually put them through some sort of training or some sort of development so they become an emerging leader in your business that is, and it's a mutual success, if that makes sense. Okay, you want to set some goals with them, right? So for example, you want to make a commitment that that you want to develop them into an emerging leader. And I have a case study. I have a case study of 5 businesses up in New South Wales. Basically what happened is, they would have staff, this revolving door, they'd finally train somebody up, get them to the point where they want, and they'd leave. So what was our process? Let's put them through an emerging leader program, which is what I'm pretty much sharing with you right now of what we did. And those guys never left. They stayed with the business, which, what come with it was better sustainability, better retention, and then obviously profits, which is what we're all in business for. You want to set some timelines and map out the process. So we see you being a future leader in this business. We want to get the process right over the next 6 to 12 months, right? Where we've seen people fail is when someone's left, like a 2IC or a manager in a business that's running an department, then they grab the next person in line and say, you're now the manager, and they pretty much set them up for fail. You want to set some expectations. So part of the expectation is for you to become an emerging leader with our company, we need you to become very good at leading yourself, leading the way. So having those leadership qualities and making sure that you are, your behaviour is 100%, your vocabulary is 100% in how you communicate. I highly recommend you enroll them on a training course. So if you lose a really good opportunity, a good staff member, it's probably going to cost you somewhere between $20,000 to $30,000 in lost revenue while you're trying to replace them, if not more. I'd probably say more like $50,000 in revenue. So you're better off spending some money with them, investing then to keep them in your business, and make sure that you have a process where you don't lose them. And you want to empower them to empower others, I think is really, really important. And lastly, on our first topic is, part of leading self is, and this is communication, and this is getting somebody to come into your company to, and I use the word a third party because I use this in my business. I believe when you bring a third party into your business, then what that does is that empowers others. That shows that you're serious, that you want to develop people, or whack-a-mole on a training course, whatever you decide to do, like a Cert 4 in frontline management. But leading self, you want them to become more assertive with their communication. So they're a little bit more, if I use the word, you want them switched on, right? So they're more assertive with their team members, and they're more assertive with you, the manager or the business owner, with how they're running that department. So, you're not having to, go and find out information. They're giving that really good communication. You definitely want to have them focusing on achievements, right? So get them to set some goals and objectives with their team, or for themselves, and then their team. So we're all in it together. And then get them to be more committed as an emerging leader. So, you give them the title, and, in companies that I've gone through, you've handpicked couple of people. So, their position is, I'm still for an example, a sales advisor, but now I'm an emerging leader as well, right? So give them that title that you're emerging leader as a sales advisor to become a department manager or a sales manager or even a team manager, whatever suits your business. You must make sure that they portray that professional image, which is appearance and behaviour. And the company that I'm working with at the moment, I said to this person that for you to become an emerging leader in this business, and we're here to train you and develop you, and I'm doing that training for this particular company. I said, you need to clean your act up. I need you clean shaven. I need you, you got to get your hair cut. You need to look professional, right? Because if you look, well, I don't want to discredit this person because he's actually a fantastic person. But I said, you just got to clean your appearance up a little bit more so you have that professional image, all right? And you want to, for me, I'm really big on, you want them to take more ownership with, that professionalism, that strategic thinking, and then, so they're really good at managing responses to situations, if that makes sense. And most importantly, explain and show them how to manage upwards. So one of my biggest frustrations is when I go into a company, and it happens, it doesn't happen in our business, because I'm really trying to embed this into our business, but I want people to come to me, manage up to me. Colin, this is what's happening. This is what I'm doing. I shouldn't have to go and manage them. And again, a good sign of leadership of a person is, they're on their game plan and they're educating you on what you need to do to make you successful. So I hope my topic 1 makes sense, and feel free to ask any questions or put some messages in the chat box, because I'm here to, as I said, share some knowledge and try and help you improve your business. Okay, so my next topic is around leading others. So we get a future leader. We say we're going to merge you into an emerging leader in our company. And, you've got to become very, very good at leading yourself. And I look at that as, like, I'm going to review this over the next 3 months, right? And then from there, we'll then take the next step. And the next step is we're going to train you on how to lead others. So as I said, this is not a quick fix. This is a process that you're putting in place where a person is going to learn how to become an emerging leader in your business. Okay, so you want to teach them to be more resilient, right? So resilience is everything. So, that's that pushback, when people don't want to do things you want to do. They've got to learn how to become a bit more resilient, and they've got to work out a way to have a conversation to get staff to do what they want them to do, if that makes sense. You want to allow them to make some decisions, right? Now, again, you want to set some boundaries on that. This is decisions I want you to make. An emotional intelligence says when they come to you with a problem, well, okay, how do you think we should fix it, right? Because that's part of that emotional intelligence. Allow them to build on relationships with some boundaries. So what I mean by that is, and I said I come from this, right? So I was a future leader in an organisation. They're all my mates I work with, and then I partied hard with them afterwards, right? So we're all good friends. But the boundaries is, I had a great mentor who said to me, Colin, you're now a leader. What you need to do is you can still have fun with them, but you need to set some boundaries. So boundaries is you're not going to enter into conversations that you shouldn't have, and you're not going to go and party with them till 3 a.m. in the morning because discredit your that professional image that I spoke about. I hope that makes sense. You want to show them to better train and motivate your employees. So you want to show them ways, right? And you want to encourage them to come up with some new ideas and stuff like that. When they take ownership, you just feel that you feel empowered as much as they feel empowered. And you want to teach the importance on having one-on-one conversations. So, again, that's a skill about how to have a conversation, give some feedback about a person's performance. Hey, I really like what you've done here. This is something I need you to do in the future, and and have that conversations. Also, the conversation is, look, I've asked you to do something, you haven't done it. Can you give me a reason why that hasn't happened? And have that confidence to do it. Yeah. You want to give them more insight about performance management. So start that process over that next 3-month period of teaching them about, what is performance management? How does that work? Right from employing right through to termination of the business. And I want you to empower them to let them run a team meeting, because it's a good way of grooming them and developing them into your business. So you can run the next team meeting. right? And then, the next person we're putting on, we're putting on Colin. He's coming into the business. We're going to let you, help you induct them into the business. So they actually become an advocate and a good arm to your business, a good strength to your business to support. Okay, I just want to talk about this thing called a passion pyramid, because if anyone's done any training with me or any DISC profiling or DISC workshops and stuff like that, it's all about how to manage with different personalities and understanding people's behaviours. So this is only a 30-minute webinar, so I can't go into too much detail, but this is a passion pyramid. And what it tells us is this: what are employees' needs? Well, number one is to be respected. Number two is to learn and grow. Number three is to be an insider. And number four is to do meaningful work. And number five is to be on a winning team. So again, when sometimes we put a person on as a manager or a leader, a potential future leader in your business, they think because they've got this title that I now need to go and tell everyone what to do. Well, that doesn't work, because this is what I love about this passion pyramid, because leadership skills they've got to learn to do is they've got to learn how to build skills to build trust, because trust is everything. And as you can see, if there's trust, mutual trust, and there's respect, you end up with a basic level of employee engagement. If I'm really good at coaching, counselling, I like the word managing better than counselling, and mentoring skills, and we want to teach them to learn and grow, then there's more talented, skillful employees that are coming into the mix of our business. And being inclusive. So to be an insider, I think, is really, really important. So you value people's opinions. This is you developing your emerging leader, and then them also working with their team, setting some goals to be a bit of an insider. So employees feel more emotionally connected, if that makes sense. You must have that, mission, vision, and values, because that's the holy grail of every business. This is what we're aiming to do. So it's all about doing meaningful work, and I read out before, we take business from good to great. Our Google reviews tell us that that's what we do. And we ask our staff, make sure that you're having those conversations with our customers and we're doing meaningful work, because if we're helping them, then they're helping us. But from a culture point of view, it ends up with an increased commitment and engagement within the business. And I think the big one for me is we want to build a high performance team and to be on a winning team. So again, we end up with passionate employees when that actually happens. So no one wants to work for a company that's not passionate about what they do and not being on a winning team, right? They want to work on, okay, where's our business going? What's our direction? And that we do that bit of strategic planning to help businesses with that. And when a future leader or emerging leaders comes into a business and they see their pathway, their career path going within that company, then they're going to stay and they're going to hang around because they want to be part of it. So empowering your emerging leader to set goals with their team. So this is about, okay, you now need to go and set some goals with their team. And, that's part of growing. And, that's what it's about. It is about how you as a business owner or a manager find that emerging leader and set some goals, get them to set some goals with their team. And whether you like it or not, let them run with it, because it's okay if you can make a couple of mistakes, because that's part of learning, long as it's not too costly. All right. So again, I hope that I gave you some really good insight with my topic 2 of leading others. Now, number 3, which is about learning how to lead and manage a team. So, okay, so I am on my skill set's gone 3 months, working on, leading self better. Now I'm going to learn how to lead others. And now in the 3rd month, it is about, well, okay, how am I going? I'm going to train them on how to, manage a team or a department, if that's such. Okay, so if you think about it, the thing, and I brought this up before, it's the importance of actually teaching this person around business acumen. And I go into lots of companies and I'll say to a staff member, can you explain to me what is business acumen? And a lot of people don't know, right? So that's in itself says a lot, right? So if I'm training an emerging leader into the business and I'm going to teach them about business acumen with some responsibilities, we can talk about things like, well, okay, let's talk about the financial profit drivers, things around price, fixed costs, variable costs, the importance of sales volume and sales results, cost of debt, inventory, so they're profit, rework is another one, and that's down below. But you want to talk about some of the non-financial profit drivers that can affect the bottom line, productivity, so cost of wages, so people are not working a full day's work, right? And unfortunately, it's happening out there at the moment, right? So again, you're teaching, this is the emerging leader that's coming through your business. This is the importance of this. Customer satisfaction, because without customers, we don't have a business. Your products and services, and those things that I addressed a team a few weeks ago, and one of the things I talked about is there are a lot of mistakes in this business. We're making mistakes. Why are we making mistakes? Because if we're making mistakes, that's rework. That affects the bottom line of the business. So it's training and getting an emerging leader to understand that. And then market share, right? So understand that if we lose market share, then obviously we're going to lose some of our staff members. So our process is we want to gain market share, our slice of the pie, as I talk about. And then employee safety. So again, WHS, OH&S, right? We're all responsible for employee safety. So again, that's part of the process of what you're starting to educate them on. So we're putting all these things in place and we're getting them to lead and manage a team. So your emerging leader needs to develop that skill set and have the confidence to coach, manage, and mentor staff. Yeah, and that's a skill set in itself. And then they've got to be very good at learning how to facilitate meetings and training sessions. So again, that's another skill set that you've got to, you're going to have to work with them and train them up on doing it. And I see it when we go into companies, they throw a young person or emerging leader off the cliff into the deep end. And, sometimes it works, but most of the time you actually set them up to fail. And that doesn't end up a good outcome if there's no support there. They need to know how to have those one-on-one conversations that I spoke about. And as they're now managing a department or part of your business, they've got to have that skill set to address staff's performance at a basic level, right? So they've got to know, if someone's running late, what to do. So this is all about not being reactive. It's about putting that proactive training into them so they're ready to go. And then be great at decision-making and problem-solving, because I want them to make decisions. I want them to come and say, listen, I've just made a few decisions on this and this is the reasons why, right? Because we had a problem and they've been able to deal with it. And the big one for me is lead with professionalism. So, you want to sit back, and the most proudest moment as a business owner is when you have, I'll say, great staff, great leaders that actually lead your business that you don't have to do. And it's a good feeling. Okay, if you don't identify and train and develop your future leaders to become an emerging leader, then be prepared to lose quality staff. And I've given you very much, the insight of what I believe in. And I know this works because I can give you many case studies where we've gone into a business. You've got to put that time in and don't wait till it's too late, if that sort of makes sense. Don't wait for somebody to leave. They go, okay, now I'm going to put, Colin's going to be the next person in line to go and do that, because that will put them under a lot of stress if they're not had that proper training and development through what you need to do. Okay, so I've given you a very good insight for the last 25 minutes. Do we have any questions? And please feel free to ask me some questions, because you get the best out of me when you ask me questions. So are there any questions out there based on what I've covered? I actually had I haven't got any yet, but I actually had a client who had called me, made an inquiry saying, we know this is important, we've seen the webinar, but can you do some training with 3 of our staff members? So I have set up a series of training. They're in WA, they're in Western Australia. So I've set up 3 training sessions with their team. So 3 2.5-hour sessions where we're going to work on leading self, leading others, and then managing a department is what they want. And then there's a bit of follow through. Now, they don't want to do it over a 12-month period. They pretty much want to do this over a 3-month period to get this person up, because some staff members are going to leave, and they're like, right, we need now fast track this. So one person's already in a leader, but they want to put them back through the training. But again, I think that's important to actually do that. So I have no questions. But we have an emerging leaders program, and I just sort of gave you the hint then that this is what I'm doing for this customer in Western Australia. But you know, you can download more information around our emerging leaders program off our website and find out, well, okay, what this program is all about. For me, it's about, you know, that succession planning that I said before. When you are setting people up for success, then I think it's important that you're developing them then to take over a part of your business. And I do want to say, like at Key Business Advisors, you know, we in the last few years have really grown. We've put things in place and we've really grown. We have 2 team leaders downstairs that are managing and leading a department, and they're doing it very, very successfully because of the process we put in place. I've got a question here. So who do you think is the most important factor in retaining top talent? What do you think is the most important factor? I think it's attitude, right? So when you've got somebody that's just got that positive attitude, that fronts up every day, that wants to see the business successful, that to me is, you know, the most important factor in retaining top talent. Because if you have a person that you lose that positivity in the business or that drive in the business of a leader, if they go, we've seen it many times before, when they've moved on, other people have followed them because they've had those leadership qualities, if that makes sense. Are leaders born? Well, some are not, all right? Some that need a bit more training on it. But leadership qualities, I'll go back to that emotional intelligence, and the things that I've talked about in this webinar is making sure that you're seeing it out there. They're helping, they're supporting others. They're not sitting there waiting for you to go and tell them what to do. They're coming to you. They're showing that leadership, those leadership qualities. Okay, thanks very much for that, Ben. Good question. Okay, so our next webinar, and they're free webinars, there's 30 minutes of myself, you know, sharing some knowledge, but the next one's about the power of strategic planning, which complements what I've just talked about. Because if you don't plan to get emerging leaders, future leaders into your business, then basically, you know, what's that saying? If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And sometimes we hear it when it's all a little bit too little too late. So again, this webinar is about, as you can see, the importance of having a strategic plan, how to build on it, or how to build it. And then the next one is how to execute and act on your strategic plan. So I hope you can join me for this webinar. If there's anything that we can help you with, you can see this is our list of services that we do. And all my team in our company is just as passionate as what I am to go out and help our clients to go from good to great. All right, my last thing I need you to do is we offer free webinars. And if you've got value out of our webinar today, what we need from you is to give us a Google review, right? Because basically, this is the norm of today's world. We all understand what a QR code is, so all you're gonna do is hold your phone up and do it. But if you've really enjoyed our webinar today and we've given you some great information that you can take away and you value that information, then please give us that feedback. And if I've not exceeded your expectations today, then please feel free to give us a call on 1300 for advice, or email me, Colin, COLIN, at Keyba, KEYBA.com.au, and I'll be more than happy to take any query, have a conversation with you. Okay, and that's now right on time. It is 1:29. That now concludes our webinar, and thank you for putting your time out today to spend some time with me. Enjoy the rest of the week. Thanks.